How's it going, guys? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and tonight we are doing the Week 2 update of the test knives, the Delica in K390 and the Native 5 Lightweight in Rex 45. But before we get started, I wanted to do two things. Number one, address the ridiculous sweatshirt I'm wearing. It's very cold, so I threw this, snuggly thing on. I am sorry that I look like Little Red Riding Hood in this. So sorry for, the bright red big oversized sweater. And also we're gonna do a quick welcome and a quick channel recap slash update type thing. I don't know why, but for some reason there are a lot of new subscribers lately, and I said that the other day, but it just keeps growing, which I really don't understand at all, but they're flowing in from somewhere until they get pissed off and leave. So, welcome aboard if you're new. I'm Erica. I test knives and gear and talk shit, and I'm just obsessed with knives. But, yeah, I wanted to just kind of go over real quick what you're going to be seeing on the channel moving forward, and a couple of, slight disclaimers. So, moving forward, definitely still the knife testing, the gear testing, kind of the same thing that you guys have been seeing. That's not really changing. However, I am going to retest a lot of the knives from when I first started the channel, if I still have them in my possession. So, for instance, the Emerson Mini A100 will get retested. We will retest the Chris Reeve Small Sebenza 31. We will retest the Benchmade Mini Griptilian, okay? Because here's what's happening is people are flowing into the channel, and for some reason they're watching videos from a year and a half ago, and I don't know if they just aren't seeing that they're old, but they're thinking it's real life right now. And people keep commenting on these old videos, which a lot of them have been debunked. I just don't delete them because I think it's cool to watch how the channel has grown, I guess, and why delete old content, I don't know. But yeah, so people are watching a lot of this old stuff and thinking it's real life right now, and it's sometimes not. So I'm going to actually retest a lot of the knives that I've already tested before with some more modern sharpening techniques, stropping techniques, different jobs being applied. So that will be coming up. And then obviously, a quick disclaimer, we swear on the channel, we make your mom jokes, we're inappropriate, rude, obnoxious sometimes, not as bad as we used to be, but, you gotta have a little bit of fun in life, right? And, be real with me. What other female EDC content creators do you know that, actually use their knives, sharpen their knives, sometimes know what they're talking about, and say your mom jokes? I'm waiting. You probably don't know any. I'm the only one. So, I'm just gonna, be true to who I am, which is a silly person that, kind of knows a little bit about knives. But, yeah, so there is swearing, crude humor. Come along if you wish. If you don't, I totally get why you don't want to be here. With that being said, I am not a steel guru. I am not a Sean Houston or whatever. What's his name? Sean? Yeah, I think that's his name. From Triple B Handmade, or I'm not up there with Laren Thomas. And I don't know as much as Jared from Neves Knives, right? I'm not, or Outpost 76. I don't know as much as Gerald or Clint or anything. I know a little bit about steel, and I keep testing them. Sean's gonna hate me saying this because he makes fun of me all the time, or somebody like me on his channel a lot. I do more real world testing, which geometry freaks do not want to hear that, but I use the knives in real world applications and I just see how they do. My channel is kind of more for the average viewer, the everyday viewer that is getting into knives, maybe already is into knives, and is kind of in that in-between between just a blue-collar user that uses Kershaws and Bucks and stuff, and a complete knife nerd that cares about Maximate and S90V and stuff. We're kind of right in the middle here. The channel is for the middleman of enjoying knives, wanting to know how steels perform, but we're not going to be doing all the cuckoo stuff, the hair whittling. We're not going to be pulling up charts of steel compositions and talking about 15-degree per side angles for the rest of our lives, and talking about paper thin blades. It's just like, that's just not what we do here on the channel, because there are other channels that do that way better than I ever could. So we're kind of right in the middle. Geometry cuts, that's the truth. I just do a little more of the real world testing and record my data from that, as opposed to pulling up charts and consistently just talking about geometry and chemistry all the time that nobody understands. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's go into the update on these knives here, because I am testing some steel this month. We're testing K390 and Rex 45. If you don't know what those are, K390 is a bowler steel. So if you've ever heard of bowler M390, this is bowler K390. It's a really nice tool steel that, in my use so far, holds an extremely sharp, bitey, clean edge for a very long time, which I really enjoy. It also seems to resist a patina a little more than some of the other tool steels, which may be in favor of some of my viewers. And then we also have the Rex 45, which is a crucible steel, a CPM steel. Rex 45 from Spyderco is a very hard steel, so it can be treated very high and not, in my opinion, not lose a lot of toughness whatsoever. And it also, from my use so far, can be ground extremely thin, reground extremely thin, and still 100% obtain all of those characteristics that we really want from Rex 45. So this is 15 degrees per side. This is reground. I cannot remember the BTE on this. Anthony told me what it was. I have a paper somewhere that says what it is, but I forget off the top of my head. This is a native 5 regrind. So it's very thin. Extremely thin. And he kind of sent this over as a gift, and he wanted me to unlock the full capabilities of Rex 45, because the original Native 5 lightweight in the Rex 45, he believes, is just a little thick, and you can grind it way thinner and still have it fully capable, and, in essence, it's better this way than it is stock. Yeah, so, we talk a little bit about geometry and blade thickness and stuff on the channel, absolutely. I'm just not going to be, I'm just not one of those people that's just, obsessive about it, because that's not my passion. Blade thickness is not my passion. Using my knives and sometimes using them as pry bars and sometimes using them as scraping tools and stuff is just something that I do, and yeah, that's kind of more how I work, but obviously nothing against the scientists in the community. We need them. Yeah, so let's just do a quick little comparison. So the Delica is a thin knife to begin with. The Delica's on the top here, but as you can see, our Native 5 lightweight regrind is even thinner. Paper thin. Absolutely incredible. So, the cool thing about that is that we have really, like Anthony said, unlocked some major capabilities from this steel that were really prohibited with the stock thickness. And that's, I'll be honest, out of all the companies that I know of, Spyderco, in my opinion, does have the best heat treat protocol and does offer us as consumers some of the best grinds on their blades. I think that they are very generous with how thin they grind their blades while still trying to keep toughness and satisfy the general customer that is not looking for super thin geometry, if that makes any sense. To me, Spyderco grinds a lot of their blades as thin as they can without getting into the spooky realm, right? Because it's not like everyone that buys a pair of 3 It's not like everyone is going to be looking at that and talking about geometry and thinking about geometry and geometry. Like a lot of people just know that the Para 3 is a great EDC user, and they're just looking for a great EDC user. And if it's too thin, it could break under general use if you're being, if you're not quite paying attention. And, you know, some of us blue-collar workers just don't. Some of us just beat on our knives, and we don't want them to break. And this is a prime example of that. I do believe that the Native 5 Lightweight is a knife that a lot of people know about, a lot of people use. I've seen them in stores before. They're decently priced, and I do believe that the average knife user could pick one of these up and absolutely use it in a blue-collar field without thinking twice about it. But if it were ever ground this thin from factory, I think that could be problematic, again, for the average non-knife nerd user. I have poked and pried with my Native 5 lightweights before, the stock ones, and I would not feel comfortable doing it with this one, even though I was with the stock thickness, right? This is an absolute performer, cutting-wise. I really haven't ever had a knife that cuts this well and slices this well because this is so freaking thin. But if I put this in the hands of Nicole Dodge, she would probably snap it at work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that fine line of making content for like the average viewer versus satisfying that like niche little bit of the community that really is obsessed with like blade steel hardness, geometry, sharpening, the Rockwell testing, all of that, right? It's just like a consistent battle of trying to make everybody happy, and that's kind of what my channel is for, is like that middle ground of like, hey, like, you know, we've tested Sabenzas that have great hollow grinds, and we've tested Emersons that are thicker than your mom, and we also are testing a really thin, beautiful regrind to satisfy those little scientists out there, those little metallurgists. What would satisfy me is my camera working for once. Oh my lord. It just, halfway through the video, just stops focusing. There we go. So yeah, this blade is absolutely phenomenal so far. Little tiny bevel, 15 degrees per side, just the best slicer I've ever used, and the edge retention is ridiculous with this regrind. So far, I would say that I would recommend getting a regrind on your... Good lord, my phone just never stops. I would recommend getting a regrind if you are not planning on like thrashing on your knife. Like if you're looking for absolute performance and just cutting and slicing, I can recommend the regrind so far. It's just a totally different world from a normal Native 5 lightweight. But again, if you're somebody that kind of beats on your knives and maybe you poke and pry a little bit and stuff, I'm not sure. That would make me a little nervous with this. And if you're just looking for thin and slicey, but you don't want to get a regrind and you're just looking for geometry cuts, but maybe not paying the extra money for a regrind, the Delica so far, especially in K390, is the balls. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with this. The more I use it, the more obsessed I am. I posted a video earlier today of cutting with this knife that hasn't been touched up in 2 weeks, which I don't know why YouTube turned the comments off. I really don't. They do that all the time. Or they'll like flag my videos and say that I'm a child that's promoting knife danger, and it's just like, I'm literally 27, stop, I am not a child. I'm not doing that. But I have a Google baby face and they think I'm whittle. Ridiculous. If you're looking for geometry cuts without a regrind, this K390 Delica is absolutely incredible so far. And thin. The camera's not focusing yet again. Sorry. It's pretty darn thin. It slices incredibly well, and this edge retention is wild so far. It's really, really wild. So that's my update on the week 2 testing. I'm going to have to record a full sharpening of both of these when they need to be sharpened. I really want to get that on camera for you guys and show you like the progression that I end up using. But that's all I've got for you guys today. If you have stuck around for this long, thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. It's a crazy ride. We're up, down, and all around on Erica's planet, but some people find it fun, and yeah, I hope you guys stick around because we will be doing a lot of fun stuff on the channel moving forward, and yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. Be a scientist that is obsessed with geometry, or just be a real world, hard, use your shit user. Doesn't matter. We all love each other here. I love you guys. I will see you on the next video. Take care.